Okay, this is lesson 1.3. Let's get started. Part A says the table above gives information about the outdoor club's hiking trip. Calculate the unit rate for the speed at which the outdoor club hikers traveled for each day of the trip. Okay, so we actually can do it two ways. Let me pop this open up a little bit. We could figure out miles per hour, or we could figure out mph, or we could figure out hours per mile, both of which would be correct. So if I want miles per hour, I'm going to take the distance divided by the time. So 9 divided by 4. And I'm going to get 9 divided by 4. That's 2. Add the 0. That's 2. Another 0. 5. So 2.25 miles per hour. Now if I wanted to do the hours per mile, I'm going to do the opposite. And so in this case, I'm going to say not 9 divided by 4, but 4 divided by 9. Okay, so 0. Add the 0 there. So that's 4, 36. 4, I'm going to keep adding a 0, and what do we see? It's always going to be the 4. So I'm just going to say 0.4 repeating. And let me go ahead and do the other two. For the other two, I'm just going to use a calculator to shorten the length of the video. Okay, so the second one, 12 miles distance in 5 hours, 12 divided by 5 is 2.4. And 5 divided by 12 to get the hours per mile would be 0.416 repeating. 0.416 repeating. And lastly, 6.4 divided by 2.5 is 2.56 miles per hour, or 2.5 divided by 6.4 will get me I'll write it down here, 0.390625. All right, let's move to part B. Okay, it says before the trip, the hikers made some trail mix. A recipe for trail mix calls for a ratio of 3 cups of raisins to 4 cups of peanuts. So the ratio is 3 cups to 4 cups. So for every 3 cups of raisins, there's going to be 4 cups of peanuts. Another way to think of that, and we're going to do this it says express this in both fraction and decimal. So for every 3/4 of a cup of raisins, there's going to be 1 cup of peanuts. So the fraction would be 3/4, and that would be, in decimal, would be 0.75 or 75 hundredths. Part 2, how many cups of raisins should the hikers have used if they had 2 cups of peanuts, 3 cups of peanuts, 5 cups of peanuts? So we have our ratio. It's 0.75 or 3/4. So if it's 2 cups of peanuts, 2 cups peanuts is going to be half of that, half of 0.75, which would be, as a fraction, would be 3/8. And as a decimal, half of 75 is 37.5 or 37.5. So 0.375. Okay, so for 3 cups, I'm going to take that 0.75, and instead of dividing in half on the ratio, I'm just going to say, okay, I know that for 1 cup it's 0.75, so 3, I'm going to multiply 3 times 0.75, and that gives me, so 75 cents is 150, so 225, so it would be 2.25 for 3 cups. And then lastly, for 5 cups, same thing. I'm going to do 5 times 0.75 or add these two together because 2 cups and 3 cups is 5 cups. So 2.25 plus 3.375 gets me 2.625. And if we want to show that over here, 2.25 plus 0.375, I'm going to add the 0, 5, 12, carry the 1, 6, 2.625, it checks. Okay, let's move on to the next part. Okay, so part C, it says Avril and her dad bought ice cream after their trip. They found 2 different flavors and package sizes. For each of the 2 ice cream packages, what is the price per quart? The number of quarts per dollar. Okay, so the price per quart is, if it's 2 quarts and so chocolate chip, the price per quart, we're going to divide $5 by 2, and that would be $2.50. Now, the number of quarts per dollar is going to be different. That we're going to have to take and say 2 divided by 5. And so, let's see, we'll set this actually up. So 2 divided by 5, 0. I drop the 0. 5 goes into 24 times. So it'll be 0.4, which is the price per, or the number of quarts per dollar. So you get 4/10 of a quart per dollar. So let's look at the second one, cherry vanilla. So how do we get, so the cherry vanilla, just like in the first one, I took $5 divided by the quarts. I'm going to take $4 and divide that by 1.75. So 4 divided by 1.75. I'm going to change that to 400 divided by 175. So 175 goes into 400. Let's see, 2 times. 175 times 2. 75 times 2 is 150. So 200, so 350. Okay, so that's 50. And now we're going to add a decimal. 175 into 500. So if 175 and times 2 is 350. We still can only do 2. So that'd be 350 again. All right, let's add another 0. And 175 into 1500 is like 8 or 9. Let's try that. Okay, so 175 times 8 is 1400. So I know it can't be 9 then because that'd be too large. That would leave me with 100. And so I'm going to stop there because this is price. So at $2.28 is the cost per quart, $2.28. Now, how many quarts per dollar? So it's the opposite. So if you remember, we said 2 divided by 5, quarts divided by price, so 175 divided by 4. Let's move this over a little bit. So 1.75 divided by 4. This time I'm going to leave the decimal there and just line it up. 4 goes into 17 4 times, that's 16. 5, that goes in 3 times, that's 12, with 3 left over, add a 0. 4 goes into 37 times, that's 28, 2 remaining, and we'll do one more, 0, 5. So the cost per, or you get 0.4375 quarts for every dollar you spend. Okay, so part 2 says use each kind of unit rate from part 1 to compare the values of the 2 packages. So it turns out that if we're looking at either of these, so interestingly, the chocolate chip per quart is more expensive than the cherry vanilla, but the amount, and then the amount, you get slightly less. You can only get 4/10 of a quart per dollar, whereas you get 4,375 10,000ths of a quart, so it's slightly larger. This would be 0.40, this is 0.43, so the cherry vanilla is the better deal. Lastly, each ice cream flavor offers an 8-quart package with the same unit price as the smaller container. For each flavor, what does the larger package cost? So 1 quart chocolate chip, 1 quart is $2.50, so we're going to take $2.50 times 8, and for the cherry vanilla, $2.28 times 8, and we get $2.50 times 8 is $20, and $2.28 times 8, which is going to be slightly less, is $18.24. All right, I hope this video helped you. I will see you in the next lesson.